Okay, good morning folks. NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. And I've had a few people in my YouTube channel that have asked, what do you use? And then I've had some people online, how do you get it up? And here's where we're going to start with. That's my fishing pole. I don't use wrenches, I don't use pop bottles, I don't use arbors. Right here is 3 ounces. It's two 1.5 ounce sinkers. I run roughly 150 to 175 yards of 20-pound test. And let's go to the reason why I use that length of line, because if you're fortunate, and I do get this way sometimes, and you can get it up 70 feet or better, you got to come back down. When you come back down, you need that additional weight, 1.5 ounces to get it up there, but you got to bring it all the way back down, and it's pulling that line. So if you do it at 70 feet, you're still at 140 feet, and that's not including the angle and so forth, the over limbs, so you want to always make sure you have enough. Here are some of the supplies that you see this old man use. This is my battery, and this is my battery. That's my Mojo battery. But what I'm showing you is the box. I carry 2 batteries in this box, okay, for myself. You don't have to do this. These are place cards that I use with baseball card protectors that give me the park information, the name of the park. You can do it that way. You can print it on paper, whatever works for you, but it's nice to have it around. You will see that on my batteries here, I have dated them. April the 2021 is when I bought that battery. And after a few outings, I realized I needed 2 batteries because I don't like to run out. I have my flags in there. Sometimes I put the flags up and sometimes I don't. Depending if I'm with another activator, I always try to show off when other people come around that they can read or talk to us about it. You don't need a battery box, okay? But there's a nice box. It's expensive, but it holds what I need. You're going to see a couple tools here. Add a pocket knife or a Gerber, something that just in case you don't need it, but just in case you do, you have it. Wire strippers, crimpers. I'm going to talk a little ugly here, so get ready for the ugly, because a lot of people use laptops and devices. Those are nice things to have, but they don't make an activation. And here's where I'm sharing. If I spill this coffee accidentally on a laptop or device, it could end my abilities to think properly and ruin the whole day because of worried about the laptop or whatever. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. When Mike and I go out, he'll run the laptop, but I still paper log. Okay, paper log is something for me. I'm retired or retarded, whichever you want to call it. I can go home, I can sit down, I can take the time. If I fat fingered something, I can research it and look. That's me. But this is what you really need to go out on an activation. You don't need a laptop. You don't need another device. Those are nice things, yes, but they don't make your activation happen. They're just additional tools. Okay, safety-wise. If you put up antennas or radials on the ground, an SB1000, you want to secure an area, you don't need it, but it's nice to have. It doesn't cost that much just to keep it in the go backs. Now again, if you're hiking up, everything that I'm saying is useless to you folks, and I appreciate your abilities to walk 2, 3, 4, or 10 miles, whatever you do, into an area with that weight on your back. But this is not this type of activator. Your antenna of choice, whatever you use, there are many varieties of manufacturers, your homemade ones that you make. Whatever you take, make sure you test it. Make sure you have exactly what you need before you go. It's terrible to take that note paper and have no ink pens, and don't laugh, because I'll laugh right now, and have no ink pens in the car. In the wintertime, you want to use pencils, mechanical pencils with very hard lead, because ink doesn't do very well in the cold weather. On your coax, every antenna that I use on an end-fed, every antenna that I use end-fed wise, I use an analyzer, and I check it with a 50-foot run of coax. This is the 17-meter coax. When I go out, this is always the 17-meter coax because of the red collar on it. Come from the manufacturer I bought it from. It was red. It was perfect. The chameleon coax that I use for the 10 through 40 is green. So I always know which coax is connected to which antenna. Again, the antennas, I'm going to span around here. You see this little shelter area here? I'm at a local park, not a park entity that you and I work normally. I put up my end-fed antenna under here. Under here. I tune it with the analyzer. When it gets up there into the trees, things of course are much better. But I'm already working down here to get the SWR tuned well within tolerance and better if I can. So each antenna has its own color-coded, for me, coax. I know which one. This here is the KO4FSZ box that was built by Chris. That wire is awesome. I had him made me get 17 meters. The SWR is fantastic. What I'm going to show you here is $4. Literally, well, now it went up to $1.25 here for the dollar store. But those are 50-foot runs of paracord. Now, I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. I could care less what it looks like for other people. But for me, it's simple as this. This here will get me 200 feet. Actually, will get me 100 or just shy of 100 feet up. Because remember, when you're going up with your pull cord for your antenna, if you're up 70 feet, you're going to have your connection point. You're going to have to be looking out for tree branches and things like that. So when you're pulling up, you're not pulling it into the branches and creating another heart issue when you pull it back down. So if you got 200 feet, I'm good for 100 feet height, literally. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You can get the military grade 550 cord. It's an awesome amount of strength, and you can find it all over from $40 down for a 1,200 foot roll. Well, you're not going to use it for 1,200 foot. Okay, now that takes care of what I need when I go out to activate a park using the end-fed. This here is the ATOS that I recently acquired because I'm getting old and jumping up and down changing ham sticks. Don't mind the mess I'm going to show you. Just want to give you something else for those of you that run ham sticks. You have these PVC that you can get from your hardware stores. Great length, 3 feet. Put a cap on one end, seal up the other end with a cap, and you can put your ham sticks in and travel in the car with them. Pelican cases, again, depending on what your needs are. There's a Heil headset in there. This is one of my Kiers in here. And every time that you're going somewhere, the necessity to buy something else will always sneak up, but you really got to think, do I really need it? You don't most of the time. It's a want thing. I want you to know I appreciate each and every one of you that has listened so far. You don't need to have a whole lot of stuff. It's nice to have the conveniences. Get you a nice chair, get you a nice portable table so that when you're sitting outside your vehicle, you're comfortable. Get you a 4x8 tarp. A 4x8 tarp and some bungee cords or paracord that you can tie to the 4 or 6 corners, whatever, and make it for a wind block or a sun block, because radios have a tendency to have issues with excessive heat. Same thing with any devices having issues with excessive heat. Thank you for taking the time to come out with me today. I wanted to share this with you. I had a couple people ask, and I wanted to make it a point today to get this video up. If you think it's a good video, I'm not asking for subscriptions and all that, but what I really would like you to do is share it with your friends who have questions, okay? And this is just one man's way, not everybody's way. You can add to this list, you can take away from this list. Buy extra sinkers, not that you need them, but you will lose them. Have extra pins, not that you'll use them all the time, but when one goes bad, it's always when you're in a pileup. Have your pocket knife or your Gerber or Winchester knife, whatever, and a couple of little things that you just might need, because if you drive an hour away, it could make a difference between your activation happening and not. Extra coax. Do I have extra coax with me? Yes. I have the 2 main pieces for the 2 infeds that I operate, but I also have an extra 50-foot with me. You'll hear the term 2 is 1, 1 is none. 2 is 1, 1 is none. That's why 2 battery is better than 1, because when you pop one and you don't have another one, you're in a little bit of a trick. For us, we use the Anderson poles, okay? We have it set up in the automobile so that if I have something happen where a battery goes, a second battery goes, we have a great day or whatever, I have a source of power in the car also. Think outside your box. What could happen? Again, if you're hiking, everything I say just throw out the window, because your scenario is going to be different. November Charlie 4 X-Ray Lima. Oh yeah, that's me. Hope to hear you on the air. I hope you enjoyed this. It's seriously there to help new people realize you don't have to have all the fancy stuff. Take the basics, go out, have fun, learn. Oh yeah, one other thing. There's not a failure. People used that word the other day, and it just really made me cringe, because every activation is a new experience. I'm going to turn this back. Every activation is a new experience, and it's a learning one. And if you get 12, you did good, you got it activated. If you're going to stay at a campground for a week and you're staying in the same park, guess what? You don't have to make a log every day for that park, because you haven't moved. So you just keep adding to the log, because when you upload your log, the UTC date will make the changes for you. If you have somebody in 2 parks that you work, make a second entry in your log for the second park. If you're using some other software that does things different, you go ahead and use that. I use N3FJP when I get home, but when I'm out in the field, I just make 2 lines. If I'm going to work you and you're in 2 parks, I'm going to put your call, I'm going to put the park number, I'm going to put the next park number and the next park number, draw a line down and go on about my business, because that's how I do it. 73s, everybody. Thanks for your patience. I didn't realize 15 minutes just went by. I just looked at the clock. Have a good one. NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. Oh, I'm not. Just Dom. 73s.